Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling, well, a really fascinating global industry, hyaluronic acid products. We're looking specifically at 2025.
That's right. We've got a market report here, the Global Hyaluronic Acid Products Market Report 2025.
And our mission, yours and ours, is to sort of quickly digest the key trends, the main insights from this.
And the big takeaway, right up front, this market is substantial.
Yeah, huge. We're talking a projected size of USD 10,524.5 million in 2025.
And get this, by 2033, it's expected to almost double.
Double, wow.
Yeah, reaching about USD 19,480.12 million. That's a compound annual growth rate, or a CAGR, of 8.00%.
Okay, 8% annually, that's strong growth. So what's really driving this?
Well, the report points heavily towards innovation. It seems manufacturers are really putting a lot more emphasis, more investment into research and development.
R&D. Makes sense.
Yeah, they're constantly pushing for, better products, more effective applications across the board, really.
Innovation as the engine. Okay, so geographically speaking, for 2025, where's the biggest slice of this, well, multi-billion-dollar pie? I'm guessing North America.
You'd be right. North America is projected to have the largest share in 2025. We're talking over 40% of the global revenue.
Over 40%, okay.
That translates to about USD 3,894.07 million. And their growth is still pretty solid, too. A CIR of 6.5% expected through 2033.
So it's a mature market, but still growing.
Exactly. It benefits from, a well-established aesthetic medicine industry, plus widespread use in other medical fields.
And within North America, the U.S. must be the giant, right?
Yeah.
What's pushing things there specifically?
Oh, absolutely. The U.S. market alone is projected at USD 3,072.42 million for 2025. Growing at 6.0% annually.
And the drivers.
The report flags two main things. One, the increasing popularity of non-invasive cosmetic procedures. Think fillers.
Right, we hear a lot about those.
And two, the expanding geriatric population. Older people needing treatments, both cosmetic and therapeutic.
So yeah, wrinkle reduction on one side, maybe joint pain relief on the other. What about Canada and Mexico? How do they stack up?
Canada's looking at about USD 467.29 million in 2025. Slightly faster growth, actually, 7.3%.
Interesting. Why faster?
Seems linked to more use in just everyday personal care products and a general rise in hygiene awareness.
Okay. And Mexico?
Mexico is projected at USD 354.36 million, growing at 7.0%. And there, it's really driven by the demand for cosmetics and anti-aging products. Pretty standard stuff there.
Okay, so North America leads, but Europe's obviously another huge player in this space, isn't it?
Definitely. Europe holds a really significant share, over 30% of the global market.
30%? Wow.
Yeah, the estimate for 2025 is around USD 3,052.11 million, and it's projected to grow at 7.0% annually.
7%, so slightly faster than the U.S., but a bit slower than Canada, maybe.
Right around that mark, yeah.
And which countries in Europe are the big ones here?
Well, several stand out. The UK, for instance. Their market is about USD 512.75 million, with a pretty strong 7.8% growth rate.
Driven.
Again, dermal fillers, anti-aging demand. You see a pattern here.
Yep.
Germany is actually slightly larger, USD 604.32 million, growing at 7.2%.
And for Germany?
Similar factors, but also its large elderly population and, interestingly, advancements in viscosupplements.
Viscosupplements, what are those exactly?
Good question. They're essentially lubricants, hyaluronic acid-based, that get injected into joints like the knee to help with osteoarthritis, pain, and mobility.
Got it, like joint lubrication.
Precisely. And then you also have significant markets in France, Italy, Russia, Spain. Even smaller, wealthy nations like Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, Luxembourg contribute.
So it's a mix, again, aesthetics and therapy driving Europe, just like North America.
Exactly that. The report highlights the cosmetics industry's adoption across Europe, the anti-aging trend, aesthetic procedures, and treatments for joint issues.
But are there any brakes on growth in Europe?
Yeah, the report does mention that higher manufacturing costs and maybe stricter regulations can sometimes act as hurdles, things that might slow down even faster expansion.
Right. Now, you mentioned APAC earlier, Asia Pacific. The overview suggested that's where the really explosive growth is happening, even if the current share isn't the biggest.
That's spot on. APAC holds about 23% of the market share currently, projected at USD 2,525.88 million for 2025.
Okay, so less than Europe or North America right now.
For sure now. But its projected CGR is 10.8% between 2025 and 2033.
10.8%, that's huge.
It is. It makes APAC the fastest growing region by a significant margin. This really signals a potential major shift in the global landscape for this industry.
Okay, that is definitely something to watch. Which countries are leading this charge in APAC?
China's a powerhouse. Projected market of USD 1,060.87 million in 2025, growing at 10.3%.
Driven by similar things, anti-aging, cosmetics.
Yes, anti-aging, hygiene products, and also that trend of non-surgical cosmetic procedures taking off. But you know who stands out even more in terms of growth rate?
Ooh.
India. Yeah, the highest growth rate in all of APAC. A remarkable 12.7% annual growth projected. Its 2025 market size is smaller, about USD 252.59 million, but that rate is incredible.
12.7%. What's fueling that in India?
Primarily, it seems to be a rising awareness about hygiene, coupled with rapidly increasing disposable incomes. People just have more money to spend on these kinds of products.
Makes sense. Any other key players in APAC?
Oh, yes. Japan and South Korea are substantial markets too, both showing strong growth, over 9% CAGR each. Australia, Singapore, Taiwan, Southeast Asia generally. They're all part of this high-growth picture.
So in APAC, it's this potent mix of factors, basic hygiene improvements, growing wealth allowing for more cosmetic spending, plus the aging population factor too.
That's a perfect summary. Rising demand for both hygiene and cosmetic goods, more disposable income, more interest in minimally invasive procedures, and yes, the growing elderly population.
Other challenges there too.
Sure. The report notes that in some areas, lack of awareness about the products or less developed healthcare infrastructure can be limiting factors. But the overall trajectory is strongly upwards.
Okay, let's quickly touch on the other regions. South America.
South America accounts for just over 5% of the global market, about USD 399.93 million in 2025, but still growing quite fast at 8.7% annually.
And the main countries there?
Brazil and Argentina lead the way. Brazil's growth is around 9.3%. Argentina is even slightly higher at 9.6%.
What's driving it in South America? Similar themes again.
Pretty much. Demand for cosmetics and hygiene products, a rising middle class, popularity of non-surgical cosmetic stuff. Also, it's used in orthopedic procedures, think osteoarthritis, like we discussed for Germany and eye surgeries.
Any similar drawbacks as APAC?
Yes. Similar potential limitations mentioned maybe lack of awareness in some segments and perhaps limited access to the most advanced healthcare options compared to North America or Europe.
Gotcha. And quickly, the Middle East and Africa. Smaller shares, I assume, but what's the growth like?
The Middle East is about 2% of the global market, roughly USD 420.98 million in 2025. But look at the growth, 9.3% CAGR.
9.3. So faster than North America or Europe.
Exactly. Saudi Arabia and the UAE are the key markets there. Driven by cosmetic and aesthetic demand, obviously a generally affluent population helps, plus rising hygiene awareness. Turkey and Qatar also show strong growth.
And Africa.
Africa holds about 1%, around USD 231.54 million in 2025, growing at a solid 8.3% annually. South Africa and Nigeria are the main drivers.
What's pushing it in Africa?
Personal care products, dermal fillers in South Africa, hygiene products, and an expanding middle class, especially noted for Nigeria.
And the limitations for the Middle East and Africa. Similar again.
Yes. The report mentions similar potential constraints. Higher product costs being a barrier for some, and limited access to advanced healthcare facilities in certain areas.
It's really fascinating how the same product category plays out so differently across regions based on economic factors, local needs, awareness level.
Absolutely. It's not a monolithic market at all.
Now, the report also sliced the market by product type, focusing on injection cycles, right?
Yes, by product outlook. The focus is often on treatments for things like osteoarthritis, involving injections.
So what's the main type there?
Currently, the 3-injection cycle seems to be the most dominant segment.
Why 3?
Well, it's got a long track record. It's proven effective for providing, pretty long-lasting relief from joint pain and improving mobility, especially for moderate to severe osteoarthritis. Healthcare professionals tend to favor it for that balance between the therapy involved and the results.
Okay, the established standard, sort of. What about other options?
Well, the single injection cycle is pegged as the fastest growing segment.
Convenience factor again.
Exactly. Patients like it because it's just one visit, less time commitment, and the results have apparently been quite encouraging for joint pain relief.
Makes total sense. Any others?
The report also implies there's a 5-injection cycle segment, though it doesn't go into as much detail on that one compared to single and 3 cycle.
Okay, so convenience pushing the single cycle. Now let's flip to the application side. How are these products actually being used?
Well, the biggest application area, hands down, is osteoarthritis.
Right, the joint pain thing we keep mentioning.
Yeah, just the sheer number of people with it, especially as populations age globally, makes it a huge market. These hyaluronic acid injections are a really popular non-surgical option for managing that pain and improving joint function.
But is that the fastest growing application?
Ah, no, the fastest growing segment is actually dermal fillers.
Back to cosmetics. I suspected that might be the case.
It's booming. The demand for cosmetic and aesthetic treatments is just soaring.
Why HA fillers specifically?
They're really popular for, enhancing facial features, smoothing out wrinkles, giving that more youthful look. Plus, there's just generally much greater awareness now about skincare and anti-aging options.
Mm.
And people increasingly prefer non-invasive procedures over surgery.
Less downtime, perceived as safer, maybe.
Probably a mix of those. And the filler formulations themselves keep getting better, more sophisticated. That also drives adoption.
Are there other significant applications mentioned?
The report does list ophthalmic surgery, eye surgery, and also a treatment for something called vesicoureteral reflex, or VUR, which is a condition usually affecting children. But these are smaller application areas compared to osteoarthritis and dermal fillers in terms of market size and growth rate.
So really, it's this dual engine, major therapeutic need in osteoarthritis and massive cosmetic demand for fillers, with the cosmetic side growing faster.
That captures it perfectly.
What other key drivers does the report mention for the market overall? Things pushing it forward.
Well, a big plus is that hyaluronic acid is generally seen as a natural and safe ingredient. That perception really helps with consumer acceptance.
Yeah. Natural is a big selling point these days.
Definitely. Also, its wider use across the general cosmetics and personal care industry beyond just fillers gives it a boost. Think serums, moisturizers.
Right. It's in everything now.
Pretty much. And the report also notes that having a solid global logistics and transport infrastructure helps meet the demand, especially for things like serums that need efficient distribution.
Okay, those are the tailwinds. What about headwinds? Any potential drags on the market?
A couple of things are flagged. One is potential environmental concerns, specifically around the chemicals sometimes used in producing certain HA serums.
Ah, the production side.
The other is simply cost. These products can be relatively expensive, which might limit how widely they're adopted, especially, in more price-sensitive markets or for applications not covered by insurance.
Cost is always a factor. Any major trends shaping the market right now?
Yeah, two interesting ones highlighted. First, a much bigger emphasis on digital marketing. Companies are really leveraging online channels to reach consumers and professionals.
Makes sense in today's world.
And second, that global trend of rising disposable income we talked about earlier. It just means more people can afford beauty, wellness, and elective health products, which includes a lot of HA items.
Okay, so finally, who are the big companies dominating this space? It sounds competitive.
It is. The report lists quite a few prominent players. You've got names like Allergan, Sanofi Genzyme, Anika Therapeutics, Celix Pharmaceuticals, Shikogaku Corporation, Roche, Galderma.
A mix of pharma and aesthetics giants.
Exactly. Zimmer Biomet, Smith & Nephew, more on the orthopedic side.
Mm-hmm.
Ferring, Lifecore Biomedical, HTL Biotechnology, Shiseido, the big cosmetics name, Bloomage Biotechnology from China, LG Life Sciences from Korea. It's a diverse group.
And what are they doing to compete? What are the main strategies?
Primarily two things: launching new innovative products to differentiate themselves, and mergers and acquisitions, buying up smaller companies or merging to gain market share and strengthen their portfolios.
Any recent examples of that innovation?
Yeah, the report gives a couple from 2023. Galderma got FDA clearance in June 23 for something called Restylane Eye Light. It's specifically for under-eye dullness in adults.
Targeting a specific niche.
Right. And Allergan Aesthetics got U.S. FDA clearance in May 23 for SkinVive. That's described as an intradermal hyaluronic acid microdroplet injection, likely for skin quality improvement.
So constant refinement and new applications.
Exactly. That R&D push we mentioned at the start is clearly visible in these kinds of product launches.
All right, let's try and wrap this up. So, to summarize, 2025, global hyaluronic acid market, over 10.5 billion US dollars. Strong growth projected, nearly doubling by 2033.
Yep, driven by that 8% CAGR.
North America leads now, Europe is second, but watch out for APAC. That's where the fastest growth is, over 10%, especially strong in India.
Don't forget South America and the Middle East also showing pretty robust growth, just from smaller bases.
Right, and product-wise, single injection cycles are gaining fastest due to convenience. Application-wise, osteoarthritis is the biggest use, but dermal fillers are growing the fastest, fueled by cosmetic demand.
That covers the key points. And what I find particularly striking is that contrast you mentioned.
The regional differences.
Yeah, and the application differences. You have, say, India's growth linked heavily to basics like hygiene awareness and income growth. Then you compare that to North America's mature market, driven by established cosmetic procedures and an aging population's health needs. They're quite different dynamics.
Totally.
And similarly, the boom in dermal fillers is almost purely aesthetic desire, while osteoarthritis treatment is about fundamental mobility and pain relief. It's the same core ingredient, but serving very different human needs.
It really highlights how versatile this one molecule hyaluronic acid has become. It's addressing everything from basic joint function to sophisticated aesthetic ideals across the globe.
Absolutely. A truly multifaceted market.
So a final thought for you listening. Given all these diverse uses, these regional variations, and the ongoing innovation, what might be the next big thing? What future breakthroughs or maybe shifts in what people want could reshape this already massive market even further?
That's the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it?
It certainly is. Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.